All right, guys, so in the new year, we have been talking about getting organized. And so we've talked about setting goals for the year and just looking at the year realistically and seeing what you are able to do, what you want to do, what you're able to do with the schedule that you have over the course of a year. We've talked about your weekly and monthly to do lists. Or at least I've talked about my weekly and monthly to-do lists, excuse me, and how to organize those in a way that helps me to keep up with them, but also gives me grace when I miss something. And life happens sometimes, and I do miss things. We've gone over how I keep my daily schedule so that you guys have an idea of how you can keep your daily schedule, or your daily to-do list, and how to keep up with things that need to be done on a daily basis, or at least things you would like to be done on a daily basis. So now we're going to talk about how you can take your daily schedule, your weekly schedule, your monthly schedule, or your daily list, your weekly list, and your monthly list, and fit goals into there. So now that you have your goals and you have your to-do list, the next thing that I would suggest is making a schedule. So I don't mean at this time we have breakfast and then we, leave for work, and then we go for a walk and then we have a play date. I don't mean an hour by hour, but just chunks of time. So I know that before lunch, I get up, I get my breakfast, I try to have my quiet time if I'm able to, get dressed, I get my son up, I get him fed, we change his diaper and we sit on the potty, and then we have playtime, and then we have nap time, and then so I don't schedule all that in because those things happen at just a little bit of a different time every day, depending on what time he wakes up, how long it takes him to eat breakfast, how long he sits on the potty. So all of these things fit into that. So I don't detail all of that. But what I do know is we have a general morning routine all the way up until nap time. And then when he wakes up from his nap, we have lunchtime and we have a general afternoon routine until nap time. And then he wakes up from that. And then we have a general routine until dinner time. And then he goes to sleep shortly after dinner. So I don't really need to put in all of those details. But what I can know is, during nap time, most days, I know I'm doing my house chores. I'm doing those things on the weekly list and the monthly list and some of the things on the daily list. So that is when I tackle those things. I am probably going to have one either morning or afternoon a week that my husband watches my son, or plays with him or takes him places and is responsible for him during that time so that I can do some work. And so I have set those hours aside, and I know, okay, there's some goals that I have, work-related goals, and so I am going to be working on those things during that chunk of time. And then the other time that I have that I'm going to be working on my goals is in the evenings. So I wake up early in the morning, sometimes, before my son gets up, and that is when I have just my own wake up time. I handle the rest of the day better when I can have some quiet. I usually make breakfast, have a cup of coffee, drink some water, watch the news. So I try and get up in time to do those things in the morning. In the evenings, I try to do some work. So I have 3 nights a week that I can actually work on work things. Whether it's, I kind of have 2 work things. So whether it's my ministry work things or my Young Living essential oils work things, I have 2 nights a week that I can work on work things. 3 nights a week that I can work on work things. So that's how I do my schedule. But I recommend that you set a schedule. Not super detailed, but just kind of chunks of time. And when you're doing this, be realistic. If you don't do well waking up at 5 a.m., then that isn't for you. Don't try to wake up at 5 a.m. if that's not the best thing for you. But if it's helpful for you to wake up 30 to 45 minutes earlier and then have 30 to 45 minutes in the morning to work on something, if that will motivate you for the rest of the day, then try that. But you don't have to make it big chunks of time, and we'll talk about that later. Waking up a little bit early is helpful usually in getting a little bit of extra time to work on some of your goals. Don't schedule things during family time, during meal prep time, during marriage time if you're married, during your exercise time. You don't want to take away from that, but maybe your goals are exercise, and so that is actually a time that you want to set, but it shouldn't be taking away from other important parts of your life. During your quiet time or your reading time or your prayer time, you don't want to take away from that either. And then the best thing to do is to plan in 30, 60, or 90-minute increments. The most that I plan for is 2-hour increments, and that's only in the evenings, and really that only ends up being if our son goes to bed on time, which doesn't happen every night. And if he doesn't go to bed on time, then that does get pushed back to an hour and a half. And that's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable amount of time. You really can get a lot of work done in just 30 minutes a day. It's very difficult to believe, but you can. So try to schedule just short periods of time to do these things. And then make sure when you're looking at these goals that you are setting in time to learn about what you want to do. So, for example, if you want to learn a language with an app on your phone, then you need to schedule time to figure out what app is best, and if it's worth it to spend a few dollars on an app, or if there are really good free ones, or however you want to do it. So what you're doing, what you're working on, is going to take a little bit of pre-work. So make sure you're planning for that and you're being realistic about that, and that could be the first 2 weeks of your goal time is researching and coming to a better understanding of what you really need to do to achieve this goal before you actually start working on the official achieving part. So that is some of the things that I am doing that I've actually just sat down a little bit ago and worked out my schedule for this season in our life, which will go until about late April. And so for the next 3.5 months or so, we are going to be following this new schedule that we have. So, yeah, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be for the whole year. You don't have to set a schedule for the whole year. Set a schedule if you've got older kids between now and spring break, or between now and the end of the school year, or whatever. It's okay to set short-term goals. Remember, 30 minutes a day or even 15 minutes a day can really accomplish a lot for your goals. So try to work in those small amounts. And even if you can't do it every day, 30 minutes a week, if you have, as long as your goals are realistic and more long-term, more whole year goals rather than 1 week goals, then yeah, 30 minutes a week is perfectly fine. So give that a try, see how that works for you. I would love your feedback. I'd love to hear how you set your schedule, how you set your tasks or run your home, or however you do it. I would love to hear more about how other people do it. I am just trying to figure this out just like the rest of us. So this might work for me and not for you, and I'd love to hear how it works for other people. So let me know in the comments. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Bye.